What's up, Mortgage Coach community? Dave Savage coming to you live out of Portland, Oregon. I think this is the first interview I've done in over 2 weeks where I've actually been in my base camp headquarters. And I am interviewing Clint Hammon out of Columbia, North Carolina. Or excuse
South
me,
Carolina.
I caught it. South Carolina. Good to see you, man.
You too, man.
Well, last time we did this call like this, I don't know if it was 1 year or 2 years ago, but we called it a hyper local modern mortgage experience, and you lived up to that billing in every way there is. Today we're going to talk about optimizing your conversion, because for the amount of volume you do, your conversion rate is pretty special. And I just think it would be a great conversation, like, how are you optimizing conversion? And then I'm sure there's things you can do that you're not doing, but let's just give a conversation to everyone that no matter whether they're new in the business, whether they're doing less than 100 million, whether they're doing 200 million and they're trying to even go to another level, they can get some meat from this conversation.
Sure.
So Clint, real quick, if you could just describe your current production for the year and last year and give us an overview on your mortgage platform.
Yeah, I'm the branch manager here in Columbia, producing branch manager. I've got one other loan officer. He does his own thing, does a great job, Travis Wright. But my team is basically myself. I've got an assistant, Aaron Killen, and my processor, Catherine Traub. And then we've got another sort of floater, I call her. She, Val Leahy. She helps whoever needs the help on any given day. So that's our structure. From a production perspective, we did 477 closed loans, families served in 2020 for about 126 million and some change. This year, we will close about that same number of units, if not a little bit more, and dollar volume will actually be a little bit better. Loan amounts have improved, so we'll probably be somewhere in the 140, 150 range for production this year when it's all said and done. And we are a very hands-on group. I mean, I'm talking to everybody. I'm on the phone with each client. I'm putting the strategy together with each client. And a very hands-on loan officer. We're not doing a ton through the automated version where we're not really building that rapport. It's a very relationship-driven business. So, to hit high production numbers, it's amazing still to me that we're able to do it with the way that we do it, but it's because I've got a great team, and obviously Mortgage Coach is part of that team.
Well, you really epitomize a high touch, hyper local,
Yep.
But when it makes sense to use technology to improve the advice or
That's
to
right.
improve the communication, you use it. So it's this really beautiful blend. And, so anyone listening to this, 400, over 400 families served, notice, it wasn't loans, it was families. So there's this culture of, families, not files. And then, $150 million producer. That's an epic amount of production. You're killing it. Let's go through conversion. How many leads have you generated? How do you calculate conversion?
Well, the calculation for conversion, I just look at how many times we plug somebody in the system and pulled a credit report and put something together for them. And then how many closed loans does that mean that we've got? So, I actually don't have that number sitting directly in front of me. I think I had sent it to you, but it's 650-ish pre-qual loans have gone in this year, and we've closed through the 12th anyway of October. We've closed 360 or whatever it is, but it's about a 52% credit pull to actually funded loan, and that's the number that I look at, because each one of those leads that comes in the door, that's a conversation. That's at least one conversation, if not multiple. And that's where my time's obviously spent. I try to stay in that space where I'm advising, directing, assisting, strategizing, et cetera, with each client. So the fact that I can convert that number is, that's where I want to push that number as high as I can get it. So, the fact that we're at 50% or better when you account for credit fallout and non-qualifiers, et cetera, I think it's a pretty good number.
Yeah. And so guys, the number,
looks
because you
like,
did
but
send it to me, is actually 678 credit pulls divided by 358 loans funded,
there you go.
which makes it a 52.8%, funded to pull through rate. So guys, that's exceptional. If you're watching this, I'm telling you, nothing would give you more value than to figure out your conversion. And guys, that's one way to look at conversion. I'd call it the tail end, because you got closed loans. But lots of times, and when we did the TC, well, not did, we still do the TCA a day challenge, and we do some group coaching. We look at credit pulls versus disclosures. So we're kind of looking at the front end, like how many times do we pull a credit and we really opened a loan. So even if it didn't funded, it was converted. And obviously the number would be higher. It would be probably in the 60s if you really looked at it from a front end perspective. So that's one thing I want to throw out to the community. What is your conversion? And feel free to tell me, hey, front end and then back end funded. And just know that there are a lot of loan officers that have over a 50% conversion. Now that does require a quality referral source. These are not Zillow leads. So describe your lead source real quick.
70%, if not more, of my business is borrowers coming back to me for the next transaction or a referral from my borrower. That's the bulk of my business. The other 30% is I've got 5 or 6 very good realtors that are close, tight knit partners of mine, and them plus about 3 or 4 of my financial planners. That's where that other 30% comes from. So they're all very warm referrals. They're the solid handoffs from trusted source.
I know you listened to some of the content in the mortgage coach community, and last year at the Modern Mortgage Summit, Jeremy shared a script for how he asked current clients for a referral. So like when a client's in escrow, and the way this all came out was he was looking at his conversion report, and he said, my single highest conversion lead source was when I get a referral from someone who's currently in escrow. Like past clients, really high, referral leads, really high, but his single highest conversion lead source was a client in process. Do you get a lot of referrals from clients in process? And have you heard Jeremy's script? Yeah,
I mean, in my script is, off the top of my head, I'm not remembering Jeremy's script because he's probably it's probably similar to mine, but mine is often very casual, and I like to just drop it in there that I don't mind one single bit if somebody wants to hand my phone number out to somebody that might need my services. Especially if we've solved a problem, when you've overcome some sort of an obstacle, or you've hit what they otherwise would have thought was like a stopping point or a stumbling block, and you find a way to work through it or around it, or to come up with some sort of a contingency plan, and they're ecstatic. And that's a great time to say, and all you owe me is a referral of at least 2 people in the next 6 weeks, and we'll call it a deal.
All right. Well, let me share Jeremy's real quick, because one of the things we call this how to optimize your conversion. One of the ways you optimize conversion is your lead source. And this is a great lead source for everyone listening to this, whether you're brand new in the business, you got a few loans, or whether you're experienced and you got 20 loans, or if you're close to 500 loans a year, you got a lot more than that. But he waits until someone's in the process. And I'm going to put a link down below so you can hear it from Jeremy himself. And so they're getting the loan process, and he waits until they say thank you. And usually they say thank you at clear to close. They say thank you at approval. So he's kind of waiting for that little magical moment where they're like, thanks, and they're feeling the love. And then he sends this email. And Clint, I would love for you to test this. And he's got it like a template where he literally just sends the same thing. We love helping you. Can you help me with something? My goal this year is to work with more people I like. Can you introduce me to 2 people I should know or that I can help? And I've had a lot of folks just tell me like, hey, what I'm doing works, but they've implemented this one thing. When someone says thank you, email, hey, I need your help. What do you think of that script, by the way?
I like it. It's short, sweet, casual. That's perfect. That's what works.
So
And
give it a whirl,
it's
and let's see if we can
crucial.
get you a few more referrals over the next couple of weeks.
I'll give it a
And
shot.
all right, and everyone listening, this is live in our Facebook group. So if you have a question for Clint while we're talking, put your question in comments. I'll bring it into the conversation. So let's break down. Okay, forget about lead source now. You get a lead. What are the key steps and the key things that you do that you think optimize lead to loan conversion? Break that down for us.
The first thing that I try to do personally, I'm sure there's other ways of doing it that work just as well, but I try to take everything out of the mortgage world in terms of jargon, et cetera, and basically say, look, let's talk real life stuff. And we start talking about hopes and dreams, the wish list, so to speak, of what is going to, at the end of everything, when the dust settles, what's going to make them ecstatic to have talked to me. So I get a good sense from the 10,000 foot view of what we're trying to accomplish. And then we kind of jump into that nuts and bolts conversation of gathering information if they hadn't filled it out on the website, and basically birthing the baby from the standpoint of putting everything together. And then from there, I basically let them know, by the end of the day today, or, tomorrow, whatever my time frame looks like, I'll be sending everything over to you. Don't feel like you've got to pick it up, click the link, and immediately become an expert. Really, what we want to do is, after you've had a chance to get it, let's get on the phone so I can walk through everything with you. And then we'll figure out what's the most efficient way for us to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. And so from there, it kind of sets them up to know that we're going to be getting something a little bit more than a refi proposal, for example. And if it's a purchase, I'm not talking about a prequal. I let them know, I know your realtor wants that prequal letter, or I know that you want that pre-qualification letter. That's going to be a byproduct of this conversation. What we're really going to do here is we're going to build a financial strategy that helps you basically get from where we are right now to the house that you want to be living in. And so it sets a certain tone on the front end for how their expectations are going to be for the rest of the relationship, at least on the front end.
So anyone listen to this, this came out I've interviewed Shayla Gifford on her perfect pre-approval process. Plus she delivered one of the keynotes at the Modern Mortgage Summit. And I've interviewed a lot of top folks, and they're playing a different game. Like most loan officers are playing the transaction game, and they're just, I close the loan on time. I've got great rates. I keep my promises. I'm a problem solver. I'm a hustler. And again, I'm making it up, but you get it. They're playing the transaction game. And Clint is playing the, I'm going to help you achieve your goals, dream, and your dreams. And he's finding out information beyond the transaction. So he's just playing a different game. And a lot of folks, loan officers, think, well, that takes too long. I'm too busy for that. And, guys, Clint does not have that big of a team, and he's closing over 400 loans a year.
I got 4 kids.
And you got 4 kids. So speak to that, like, for the loan officer that's like, oh, I don't have time to, do that. Tell them your vision on.
Well, I would say I don't have time to do it another way. To me, the addressing what their needs are, cutting right to the chase, and getting right to what we want the end objective to be, to like I said, how everything sets up and how does it look once the dust is settled. That's the meat of it right there. So getting right to that, the simple data entry portion is going to be the same regardless of what your methodology is. And then knocking out the mortgage coach to get that strategy, or the starting point for the strategy at least, put together. That's quicker than me sitting here trying to put 4 or 5 PDFs or spreadsheets together that I'm going to email over to them that who knows whether they'll be 100% accurate or not, or whether it'll make any more sense. So I just try to put it out there in such a way that when we have that follow-up conversation, we're 5-6 minutes into the call, they've got a good grip on what it is we're trying to do, and we can wrap it up and move it forward so I can move on to the next. to me, I don't have time to do it the way that it feels like many others are already doing it. So time's not the reason.
Got it. So let's go through the whole thing. So you've asked hopes and dreams. Now you're giving every family a total cost analysis. Could you walk through when you're doing that on purchase and when you're doing that on a refi?
I mean, I'm doing a total cost analysis on every deal. It doesn't matter the price point. It doesn't matter the transaction type. Because I mean, I'll say the same thing here that I say to my borrower, which is I don't know what's going to make the most sense to them. I know what's going to make the most sense in terms of which options do we need to discuss. But as far as what's going to actually make the most sense to them, the only way to figure that out is to stack up 2, 3, 4 options and figure out what direction do we feel pulled based off of what looks and feels to be the highest and best use of our time and money and the resources that we've got. So I'm doing one for everybody. So it's not like I'm picking and choosing who gets one. They're all getting them.
Yeah. And guys, notice the humble. He's just humble. I don't always know what makes sense. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to crunch the numbers. And guys, I will tell you, even loan officers that close over 400 loans a year, loan officers that close over 1,000 loans a year, they get surprised. Like, oh, I didn't see it.
Happens all the time.
And I see a lot of loan officers like, oh, I can ask 3 questions and I know what makes sense for them. And you know what? If you think that, it's because you haven't done it the other way. You haven't been humble, been curious, ask questions, give options, and you just haven't seen like, oh, wow, there's another way to deliver value. So walk them through again, it's your mortgage coach total cost analysis experience, but guys, you could just call it your advice experience. Like when you go from, I've asked you questions, now I'm delivering you advice and I'm presenting strategies. Talk to us when that happens and how you do it.
Well, I mean, so I once I have sent over the mortgage coach, or once they've got the TCA, we get on the phone. We both got it pulled up in front of us, and I walk through very, very quickly. Actually, in fact, I don't do much of the talking on that follow-up call. What I basically do on that call is we run through the 2 or the 3 or the 4 strategies that I've put together, and I give them a very broad brush. Here's the thought process with this one. Here's the overall thought process here. Here's why I included this one, etc. Now, you take the mic. It's your turn. Tell me what your thought was when you first opened this up and looked at it. Tell me what questions you've got, what intrigues you, what do you feel drawn to, etc. And then from there, we will get sort of down into the more of the nitty gritty, so to speak. And it's usually no surprise. We usually are going to be drawn. If I send them 4 options, we're going to be drawn to 2 of the 4. And so we'll go deeper dive into those 2 and then kind of, chop up what are the differences in these 2. And then they kind of have a good sense of what direction they want to go at that point. So they've done most of the talking by asking me questions for clarity, for further detail, etc. Because they know their finances better than I'll ever know. I'm going to see them, but I don't know them. I don't feel them. I don't live them. They're not mine. And so by matching it up with what their approach is, it gives them a different perspective on it, and how to proceed with either buying the house that they thought was too expensive for them, but they've now found out that they can afford it and they can do it in such a way that it works, or the refinance that frees up $600-700 of cash flow a month that they didn't think was an option, and now all of a sudden they've got a better path towards retirement, or a better path towards how we're going to pay for little Johnny's college experience, because we sure hadn't started saving yet. Just the different things. They're going to come to their own conclusions, and normally the right conclusions, if I've done my due diligence on the front end by putting the right options in front of them. And sometimes just a miss. Sometimes you miss on all 4 and say, hey, no big deal. I'll take this one out, replace it with that, take this one out, replace it with that, shoot you an updated link, and we'll do a take 2, but most of the time, one of those first several options resonates with that borrower.
Love it. So let's do this, because I really want to help everyone that listens to this optimize their conversion. And so I think you've covered the questions. We're not getting into details on that. And guys, there's a lot of interviews in the mortgage coach community. If you want to get all the questions that top producers ask, and just listen, when I interview top producers, I've got a whole series of interviews called "How Does Different Loan Officers Use Mortgage Coach?" And to do a total cost analysis, you got to ask good questions. So just listen to those. So let's talk about given a total cost analysis. Do you want to do a purchase or a refi first?
I got a purchase ready.
Okay, so let's do a purchase. Now, what percentage of families come into your office now?
Not a ton. Not a ton.
So most of it's digital. And
it's I'd say 5% at most are coming in here for these types of conversations, but it still happens on occasion.
Okay, but let's focus on the most common. It's digital. Do you give them the link while you're talking to them? Do you email it before you're talking to them? When do they actually get the link to the total cost analysis on a purchase most of the time?
I mean, it'll vary depending on the situation. I mean, the guy that's going to look at the house this afternoon, who I've just now gotten on the phone with this morning, I get the quick and dirty information so I can quickly move it and get it sent over. But most of the time, the more standard would be I put everything together and try to get it over to them within a 24-hour window of my initial conversation so that it's fresh. And then we normally try to set that follow-up call within 24 hours from me sending the link. So hopefully, if everything goes the way that I like for it to go, initial conversation to actually follow-up conversation, reviewing the mortgage coach together, all happens within a day and a half.
Okay. So first initial conversation where you're doing discovery, also call it the high trust conversation, how Todd Duncan would describe it. And then the presentation, it could be same day, and then it could be,
That's right,
next day, but as fast as it needs to be to deliver great service. So let's pull up, let's show your desktop. And why don't you, I don't know if you want to just create it or you want to show it. What do you want to do? You want to show?
Well, what I did was I pushed over this loan from our LOS, but I have not done my work on the mortgage coach side of it. I was going to just run through it quickly because it only takes me about 3 or 4 minutes to get that part done. It's a relatively quick and dirty process. So it would be start to finish on what I do for the mortgage coach. If you want me to do that, I'm happy to do it, or I can pull up one that I've already completed.
No. Cause that's another thing. We all the time, especially when we're selling a mortgage coach, they're like, how long does that take? And we always tell them it takes less than 5 minutes. And a lot of people are like skeptical. And I'm like, no, I mean, even if you don't have good keyboard skills, I mean, it can be 2 minutes to do a TCA. So why don't you show your screen? Before you start creating it, I just want to make sure some folks see a few things on your screen. So show your desktop in Mortgage Coach. Now, before you dig in, click on settings in the upper right-hand corner. Settings. And I want you all to notice that Clint has created 2,588 total cost analysis. I'm actually going to write that down, 2,588, and go back up to the top. And they have been viewed 16,074 times. So guys, that, I'm just doing rough math. I mean, that's like 7-8 times per TCA that whether it's a family member, a realtor, someone is clicking on it. So like every one of these he's creating, they're getting viewed like over 6 times. So that's a lot of value. And I just want to remind everybody, if you're a new loan officer watching this, Clint, you see where that red, don't click on it, but you see the red badge for your Grand Master badge? Put your mouse over the top of it. Don't click on it. And then you see that little box to the right, about 2 inches. It's a box with an arrow pointing out of it. Just to the right, click on that box.
This?
Yep, click on that. So if you're new, you start with white belt, you create 20 TCAs, you're an orange belt, a blue belt, a purple belt, 100 TCAs is a brown belt. And then once you've done this 300 times, you know, you're pretty damn good at it. I don't know, Clint, when did you feel when you first started using Mortgage Coach? How many did it take you to where you're like, you know what, I got this thing down?
Not many. Once I ran through probably, I don't know, 20 to 30, somewhere in there. I mean, it actually probably didn't even take that many, to be honest with you. I mean, once I kind of got my bearings on where things were, it was, which I'm not the most computer savvy guy in the world. In fact, I'm probably well behind most people in terms of my technology skills. But once I had done probably 10 to 15, I had it down pat.
Well, we always tell people 20 is the magic number. You know, like if you could do 20 within a couple of weeks, no more than a month, you're good to go. You'll be able to do these in 5 minutes or less. So let's get into it. Let's build one out. I'll let you take it from here. And I do want to kind of time you because I don't want to like necessarily teach people how to do it because we got trainers to do that. But I really want you to kind of prove out to people that this is a pretty fast process. So
Sure.
I'm gonna say go. And will you tell me when to say go?
Well, I was going to say the only background I was going to give you was that the integration with our LOS, I pushed this loan over, but nothing has been done on it other than the fact that it's got the borrower's name and stuff in the filled in.
So and footnote for anyone listening to this, you know, we integrate with most CRMs. We integrate with, you know, pricing engines, Optimal Blue, the company that Clint works with, they have integrated Mortgage Coach into their proprietary LOS, and it does save time. So, you know, you have to have the enterprise edition. So if you're listening to this and you're not working for a company that provided this, then you may not have the enterprise edition. You may be using what's called the broker edition of Mortgage Coach. And the only integrations that come with the broker edition of Mortgage Coach are an integration with Jungo and an integration with HomeBot. And also our newest partnership with LoanSense, which is a student loan optimization program. So anyways, we'll check it out. Okay, so it's in your automated tab.
Yep.
Go ahead and show us what you do.
So I'll pull it up.
Oh, I'm gonna hit
Start. I won't do anything. You hit timer.
All right, timer's going, man.
All right, I'm even going to change his name because he goes by Bill, not William. I also like to have the phone number in the right spot. Don't really worry about too much of this stuff.
And so he's doing a purchase, kind of fast tracking things a little bit here.
That's right. The question we've got is how much down, basically. So I'll just call this one lease cash to close.
So he's always, even if you integrate this from Optimal Blue, you know, you want to be thoughtful and strategic about the titles, how you're positioning it for the family. Boom. Putting in.
I don't break everything down. I print my totals off and just split out my lender fee versus other fees. Taxes and insurance did port over, as did the MI. We'll add another product. We'll call it 10% down. Single premium. Copy it.
By the way, guys, he's using some templates here. So there's some templates that you set up, your company set up.
No, that's why all that was blank, is I'm not using some of those templates. All it did was just push over loan amount and purchase price.
Got it. So you might be able to speed up what you're doing here.
I'm doing 4 products for this one.
Wow. Well, even not using templates, you could have done well, it looks like you are using the copy feature. You're copying it from the previous program. So that's another.
Push the one over.
Yeah. So he's copying from the previous program. And while he's doing this, by the way, guys, we're at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. We do have integrations to Closing Corps and other fee automation solutions that could have made some of this faster and more detailed. Could have also used some templates, but this is your workflow, and we're seeing how it works. 4 programs, analysis.
Click through. I don't, where I check myself, I come over here, give it the quick preview.
Boom, preview. So guys, we are right at 2 minutes and 56 seconds. And look at that.
Ladders up with cash to close. It ladders down with monthly payment, which was what my objective was. Got my little review down there. Everything looks good. I'm ready to roll.
So wait, hey, go back to that real quick. I just want to see that link. And I'm going to stop recording. So guys, at 3 minutes and 15 seconds, I just stopped recording. And look at that. It's got his personal brand. It's got his company brand. You scroll down at the bottom. We have a awesome integration with experience.com. So his most recent 5-star review is showing up. And he's got 4 options to help a family make an informed decision with full transparency around down payment options. So walk us through it.
Yeah. So, and then, after I've checked it, I generate my link. And then I pull up my email and I go right here to my signatures, edge for purchase. Boom, it fills out what I want to fill out. So then I just put a hyperlink for my edge here. I put the raw link down here. I attach the prequel letter along with our home journey pamphlet or packet and hit send. And borrower has TCA, prequel letter, as well as our welcome packet. So, 3 minutes and 45 seconds if you add the email piece, right?
Love it. And someone just commented on Facebook, Jeff just commented, said, mortgage coach is awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Classic example scenario, 4 options, sent one last night at 1 a.m. This email came through and it took me about 5 minutes. So anyways, thank you for that nice comment. And it looks like your customers are loving you. If you do, Jeff, if you do have any questions, let us know what they are. And we got a dozen people that are coming in and out of this live right now. So if anybody has questions, let us know what they are. So anything you think you need to share on that purchase, or do you feel like, that's the key? And is there another key to your conversion? Is it really as simple as ask great questions at the front end that are beyond the transaction, deliver options, and that is obviously you're executing great service standards. Obviously, you're a likable, highly personal person that loves people, but is there any other key ingredient to your conversion?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I tell somebody, and it doesn't matter if it's a first-time home buyer buying a $135,000 house, or if it's the guy buying the $2 million place down in Mount Pleasant. The way that I approach from the beginning and saying that we're going to do a financial strategy for you, I think that resonates with the full spectrum of borrower. It doesn't matter who it is. So if it's the 26-year-old newlyweds that are buying the starter home, and I tell them that they're going to get a financial strategy, nobody's ever made them that important. Because I mean it, and I mean it. I'm very sincere about wanting to put them in the best possible strategy, because I know that within 5 years, there's going to be some job changes. There's going to be the possibility of addition of children. And there's going to be a scenario where they're most likely wanting to make sure they can come back to me to buy the house that's going to meet their needs at that point. When I'm talking to the high net worth guy buying the $1 million house at the beach, and I say I'm going to put a financial strategy together, well, that's what he expects. That's how he's treated most of the time anyway. And if you don't treat him as such, then you're not going to get that deal. So I think that by showing that you genuinely are trying to put them in a position to succeed, whether that's me closing a loan for them right now or not. If I'm giving them the information and the tools that they need to ensure their success from a financial perspective, they're going to convert. They're going to convert.
So but it is that financial. By the way, is that what you call it? Like,
yeah, it's financial strategy. 100%.
Do you call yourself a loan officer, or do you have another term? I'm a mortgage planner. I'm a, how do you position yourself with the family, and how do you describe yourself at some point in the conversation? And what do you call the total cost analysis? Do you call it your financial strategy, or what do you call it?
Yeah. I mean, I will title my email "Total Cost Analysis and Pre-Qualification," but when I'm referring to it in conversation with them, it's the strategy, right? I mean, this is the hub. We're going to come back to this, whether I've updated the link 17 times or how many times we viewed it or changed from this property to that property, et cetera. That's where we're always coming back. That's the meeting point, because that's where we can sort of really flesh everything out to make sure that what we're doing has them on the right track. And, that's another thing that I'll say a lot is the second that I feel like we're off base or that we're not moving in the right direction, that's normally where we're going to see that is through that total cost analysis review. We're going to catch something. But yeah, I mean, that's the strategy. That's the hub. That's where it all goes down is through that mortgage coach link. Beautiful.
Well, I loved how you did it. Thanks for showing how quick it is. Does a refi take more time or less time?
Yeah, about the same. It depends on how cute I want to try to get with their options. I mean, I can do a refi real quick if you want me to.
Are you kidding? Yeah, I'll put you on the spot. And do you often show like, hey, here's your current loan, here's your refi loan, and then here's an option where if you prepaid your mortgage, look at how much faster you could pay it off. Do you do that move very often?
Not with my initial link. So that's actually a good question from you there. I used to. What I started doing was actually just sending them over the sort of the raw data, so to speak. And then on the follow-up call, I say, okay, we've got a couple of options. I can apply this savings difference to your new payment, where in other words, we're making your payments equal. But just doing it at this new loan on the refinance, and it's going to give us your freedom point. So do you want me to do that? Yeah, I do. So then I'll go in and do it live with them so that it's updating while we're actually on the review call. Or I'll say, look, the other option is we can apply that delta in the payment. We can apply it to your Morgan Stanley account. What'd you tell me that one's averaging as far as a rate of return? And I'll go in and I'll update, the savings information under the assumption stream. And then I'll apply the payment delta to savings. The only reason I don't do it out of the gate though is because sometimes it can create some confusion if they're not paying attention to well, it looks like all of these payments are the same. No, they're not really all the same. That's where the delta is. So if I do it live, then that confusion is no longer in play.
No, it's brilliant. And
they love it when I'm doing it live because they always go, oh, this thing's updating on my end. I say, no, I know it is.
Well, let's show everybody that real quick. Why don't you, in fact, share me a link in chat here of Zoom? Because we got a number of folks watching this live, and let's let them kind of be the borrower and see this thing move. You cool with that?
Yeah, I mean, what let's see. Let me.
Why don't you just build out a quick refi? Current loan, future loan. Then give me the link, and then
okay, I got you.
And then we'll go. Oh, and we'll kind of emulate that experience of, hey, someone got this is what the refi looks like, and then we'll kind of put the cherry on top and wow them with a strategy, a financial strategy. Let me show you a financial strategy. Here's your refi, and then here's a refi strategy. I'll tell you when I see your screen.
Can you share the screen while I'm doing it, Dave?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Yeah, we want to see you operate, man.
All right.
Get some shortcuts. If it doesn't look,
this is gonna. If I fumble a little bit, don't be too harsh on me because since I'm not porting it over from the LOS,
No, don't worry about it.
couple extra pieces.
And so for everybody watching this, now you're getting to see, like, if you don't have integrations and you have the broker edition, you're seeing what it looks like to go from scratch, and it's still pretty damn quick.
So
And
this is going to be for Mortgage Coach Dave.
yeah, and then I do want to remind folks, use strategy templates like Clints. Clint, I am going to assign a trainer to you because there's a few speed tips, some templates that could be set up, the strategy template that could be set up.
Sure.
Cut a minute off of each one of these.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, and hey, minutes add up when you're doing 600 credit reports a year.
Yeah, that you can say that again.
And remember, guys, put questions down below. Also, guys, integrations really do make a difference. When I was doing my prep call with Clint, prior to the integration, it was taking him a lot longer to do a lot of things. And, he's got a team. And so he's found with an integration, it's making it faster and it's helping his entire team. So if you are with a company that doesn't have an integration turned on, highly recommend you guys upgrade to our Enterprise Edition of Mortgage Coach.
All right, so we'll call this one debt reduction.
Okay, so you're already putting in that option 3.
Yeah, this is how I would send this link.
Yeah, show us what you would do and how you would do it. And then it looks like you usually do bulk fees. You don't usually.
Yeah, and I explained that in more detail on my call with them. That they'll get an itemized breakdown. If I can send them a worksheet after we've selected which product we're going with. But obviously on their LE, there will be an itemization of these same fees. And when they add them up, they will equal exactly what I had quoted them here. So.
Got it. And do want to remind you guys, I interview a lot of top producers, and some do it like Clint's doing it, where they're putting the bulk in Mortgage Coach, and some put the itemized fees. In fact, I'd say the majority of Mortgage Coach users now are using either our Closing Corp integration, or they're using fee templates, and they're putting fee templates in here. So I do, Clint, when you do your coaching session with one of our success coaches, success managers, I would love for them to show you just how quick that could be, just so you can see it.
All right, so, the first one was debt reduction. Second was going to be asset building. I'm not going to change a single factor or piece of this, of the first one, because they're going to be the exact same loan. The only thing that we're going to do is just simply compare how are we.
Time out. Before we do this, give me a link so that our Facebook community can.
Okay, so I'm not going to do that part yet. Then let me get you the link.
Yeah, give me the link, and then I'll share that with our Facebook community. And then you'll notice that he's, enabling the notification so that when someone.
I always preview, that's habit. I'm going to hit that every single time just to make sure that everything's what it needs to be.
So when I see that link in chat, guys, I will share it with our Facebook community. So everyone who's in Facebook, stay tuned. We're going to call this Clints Refi TCA. Put that in chat.
Got it.
All right. I don't see it yet. Oh, there it is. Got it. Clicking on it myself. And boom, share. And here it comes, Facebook. Let's give everybody just a second.
You want me to stop sharing so you can share?
No. I want you to keep doing it.
Okay. All right.
All right, guys, Facebook, it is in there. Go ahead and click on that now. So,
all right.
So you guys, anybody that clicks on that link, whether you're listening to the recording, if you're watching this in YouTube, there'll be a link to this down below. You're seeing the borrower example. So, and if you're watching this live, you're actually going to see it move. But we're looking at Clint. So
I'm on the phone with him at this point because I've sent it over exactly the way that it is with the link. The loans are identical. Both refinances are identical. we got a $453 a month difference in payment versus their current mortgage. So I'm going to go to adjust reinvestment strategy, debt reduction. So I'm just going to go to the penny, 453.62. All right. And then for asset building, I had plugged in this information, just pulled it out of the air. And I'm going to plug in the 453.62.
Notice he's using the exact number.
So, with the interest saved in 15 years here. Now, what I'm actually going to do, this shows this is where your freedom point is, obviously.
Right.
So, of course, with the current loan, 23 years and change, apply the delta to your as additional principal, and you actually knock this thing out 5 years early, right? So interest paid perspective, this one seems to win out there, but we also got to give the asset a chance, right? So let's flip from long-term interest paid, let's flip it to the net worth chart.
And then look at this, guys. It's changing right before your eyes, like literally, boom, right before my eyes, that all changed.
So now you've got this one is kind of leading the pack in terms of where the maximizing the benefit comes into play. And that's going to vary borrower to borrower. That's where that initial conversation on the hopes and dreams side of things is so crucial, because if I know how debt averse someone is, or if I know that their anxieties and what keeps them up at night is the fact that they haven't properly saved for college or properly saved for retirement, then we can address wherever it is that's going to hit home the most for them, and it's going to give them the most value, because both of the transactions from a mortgage transaction perspective, they're identical. There's no difference, but the difference is that what we do, and I will say this almost verbatim on the phone with them, is I say, once we have determined what our plan is, I need for us to commit to it, because in order for it to work, we've got to commit to it, right? It's all great to talk about it and say this, that, and the other. But if we commit to it, this is how it plays out for you. So I would say that on a deal like this, hypothetical one, you're probably looking at 50% of the people that I talk to are going to go one route, and 50% are going to go the other way. But because it's not my decision to make, it's theirs.
Right. Well, let's go ahead and stop sharing. So I feel like, guys, we've delivered on this. How can you improve your conversion rate? I want to remind anyone watching this, we have a lead conversion playbook. I'll put a link, whether you're watching this in YouTube, it'll be in description down below, in comments in our Facebook group. We'll put a link to this. This has been viewed over 10,000 times, and it's just pure gold, guys. If you want to look at all the ways you can improve your conversion, check it out. If you want to hear this, 1 minute and 52-second video, and actually hear Jeremy share this script himself, check it out. So we talked about that earlier in the call, how to get more of the most convertible leads from your current database. And then how can you actually ask the right questions, deliver the right presentation, do it in the right sequence so you optimize conversion. We've covered that. Now, one last thing I want to make sure everyone reads. If you have not read this, this is something that we opened up the Modern Mortgage Summit with last week. It's called the Modern Mortgage Summit Manifesto. And this is also the Mortgage Coach Manifesto. I wrote this myself with a little bit of collaboration from a few folks, literally the night before the Modern Mortgage Summit. And I had really watched all of the content, all of the keynotes, and it just hit me that literally every single person that was, guys, they're some of the most successful loan officers in America, they're playing a different game. Like they want to make sure that the family is more financially literate before after they talk to him. So like you saw Clint, he's showing people financial planning strategies. He calls it financial strategies. And so guys, make sure you read this manifesto. Clint, I sent this just a few minutes before the call. Have you had a chance to read this by any chance?
I haven't. I actually looking at it right as my calendar reminder was telling me that we had to jump on this.
Okay, no problem. Well, I'm not going to read it out loud, guys. I would just push everybody, give it a read. It's in our Facebook group. I'm showing it on the screen. But and here's my push to you. Have your manifesto. Like your local, your referral based. Like don't just, your manifesto, is it the one we wrote? Like what's your manifesto as a mortgage professional? I would just push you guys to get that. And then if you get that done and you get clear on it, conversion will just take care of itself. Like all these metrics will just take care of themselves. Your price exceptions will go down. Your profitability will go up. You'll get more referrals. You'll kill it. So I know we've got a little over, Clint. Any last words of wisdom you want to give to folks before we wrap it up?
Just kind of tag on to what you just said. The turning point for me personally, from a production perspective, was when I found a way to ignore the transaction and just said, I've got to add value to the conversation. And I started gauging success or failure based off of when I got off the phone with somebody, did I feel confident that they were better off, worse off, or the same as before they talked to me? And so if they were better off, then that's a win. So, when you treat it that way, I think that opens you up to putting more focus and energy and effort into the strategy piece of it, which, to me, that's what our job is, right?
So Clint, I'm gonna give you one last push, because kids that graduate from high school don't graduate financially literate. And most kids that graduate from college, even if they have a business degree, they really don't, they don't understand prepaying their mortgage and what that means. They don't understand a rent versus own and the power of home ownership, and they don't know how to do a move up analysis. So I think the mortgage industry is well positioned to fix that financial literacy gap.
100%.
And so I'm going to push you to go out reach out to some local schools, whether it's colleges, high schools, and do some mortgage coach. Get out there and let's get them early.
We're already doing some of that.
Are you? What are you doing? What are you doing?
We've gone over and taught several classes at USC for some professors in the business school that I've written mortgages for, and they want me to come talk to their class. So I've done that on a relatively regular basis. It's harder to get into the local public high schools and stuff, but the University of South Carolina, I've been over there on numerous occasions.
Have you ever showed them a total cost analysis? Actually used it as part of your teaching prop?
I think so. I feel like that. Actually, I think that one of the professors that I went over there to speak to his class, I think he pulled up the one that I had sent him. But yeah.
Well, by the way, if that ever happens again, get a picture. Let's get that on social media.
Got it.
I think, mortgage coaches are, heck, you helped that professor, and then that professor played it forward with the students. So let's have more of that happen, guys.
Yeah.
So Clint, I really appreciate all the time you've taken, man. It's been a great interview, and let's
My pleasure.
do stuff like this together.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody, if you got value, give it a like, share it with your mortgage friends, ask us questions down below. This call is a wrap. Take care, y'all.